Alright, Mr. Marvel Man here, and today we're going to be talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the world. And this movie is about a man, a man boy, if you will, who, through no fault of his own or seeming awareness, somehow gains superpowers. And the powers actually give him the power to fly, the power to fight, the power to leap tall buildings, if you will, in a single bound. He's very much like Superman. And what we're going to be doing is discussing the movie Scott Pilgrim. I have a bunch of cool Scott Pilgrim stuff here because I'm a huge Scott Pilgrim fan. I am probably the biggest Scott Pilgrim fan in the world. Scott Pilgrim. I'm probably the biggest fan of Scott Pilgrim. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that is in the movie, and also some of the stuff that you can learn about how they make movies about superheroes by how they did the Scott Pilgrim movie. Also, we're going to be discussing some more connections between Darkman and Dark Knight. And I don't really have the Dark Knight movie because I was watching it again tonight, and so it's in my player. But one of the things that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be developing some more connections between the evolution of Darkman into Dark Knight. And so we're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to be discussing more, let's see, what do I do with it? Don't know what I do with it. So more connections between, hold on, just one second. Let me get something here real quick. All right, I had to go get my copy of Iron Man because one of the things we're talking about is the connection between the Iron Man movies. That's Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, Part 2, the sequel. And we're going to be showing the connections between this movie here, Iron Man, the movie, and Iron Man Part 2, the sequel. And I have the bonus miniature mask here. It's a mask. When you open it, and when you open it, you can keep your movies in there if you want. It's a record holder or something like that. And then we also have, I got some more Scott Pilgrim stuff here. We're going to be talking about the connections between Iron Man and X-Man. And as you can see, I am going to show you that I do have a copy here of a miniature poster that I got. this here. And this here, so that you'll know that I know what I'm talking about. So we have X-Man and Iron Man, and we're going to be showing some of the connections. Now, as we've already discussed, we're moving along with this. We're in small steps, and what we're doing is we're actually talking about the progression between Iron Man and X-Man, and one of those is William Stryker is actually Tony Stark. So again, William Stryker is actually Tony Stark, and I touched on this a little bit in our last video movie on our YouTube internet. And one of the things we're going to be doing is looking at how the Iron Man movies give you a greater understanding of the X-Man and his X-Men movies. Okay, now one of the ways we can do that is we can look at how the characters are portrayed. So one of the ways that the characters are portrayed is, let's just take a look at Firestar. Okay, now Firestar is an ongoing character in the Marvel Universe. Remember, we talked about the Marvel Universe being a universe made up of different parts. And the Marvel Universe, there is a character called Spider-Man. And in that universe, there was a show, and in the universe, we still consider it present time. So there is a show called, or was called, but we consider the characters current, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends are actually a team made up of Spider-Man, Freezer-Man, and Firestar. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is there's another TV series in the 70s called Spider-Man, but here we're talking about Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And so I have the videos here, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and there's Spider-Man there. And Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is all about how Freeze-Man and Firestar met Spider-Man, and we know also that Firestar is in X-Man and his X-Men, and there's X-Man right there. And notice he has the 3 claws with the X, and that's why we'll be making the sign of the X 3 times at the end of each of our videos from now on, in honor of X-Man, the greatest superhero ever. So again, Firestar was in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Firestar was also in, well, okay, first in X-Men and his X-Men, but then also in the reboot, X-Men Origin of X-Men, codename Wolverine, Part 1. And of course it's Part 1 because we're making the sequel, Part 2. And so, but in that one, she was actually called a Silver Fox. And the Silver Fox, every time Marvel reboots a character, they always give some kind of progression. Well, as you know, Firestar cannot die. Every time Firestar dies, she comes back to life, and she remains the same person, but her character looks different. But notice she always has red. Firestar wears a red costume because her power is fire. Her power obviously comes from the sun. And so, in the Iron Man movie, you'll notice a character. You'll notice that Firestar is in the Iron Man movie now, and she actually works for S.H.I.E.L.D. And she is now Tony Stark's bodyguard. Well, remember in X-Men, she worked for William Stryker. So here we have the connection. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Freezer-Man, Firestar. X-Man and his X-Men, Origin of X-Men, Iron Man. They're all connected. All of these movies are part of the same universe. And so that's one thing we'll be needing to understand is Firestar is continually in the Marvel universe. She cannot die. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to talk, we've touched on that a little bit, but I did want to point that out. Oh, also, I wanted to show you a little bit about Nick Fury, and some of you have been asking me if I am following the Marvel universe. Why is Nick Fury in our movie I Am X-Men? Why is he not African American? Why? Well, this is why. Does this man look African American to you? No. Does this man look like someone who you see in the current movies? No. But why then are we making our movie with a different Nick Fury than what is in the other movies? Well, the reason for that is because this is the actual Marvel Universe Nick Fury. And we know this because this came first. Every other movie afterwards is a reboot. Now, rebooting certain characters is not the same as rebooting the historic or the universal alignment, because there is an alignment in the Marvel Universe that's continuous. For instance, Firestar's in each of the movies. We've introduced William Stryker, Tony Stark. He's in both of those movies. But then why, let me see if I can find it here. Why is Nick Fury in this one, why is he black? Or African American, if you will? Well, the reason for that is because it's a reboot of the character. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to move to a wider audience. That's all. They're just trying to move to a wider audience. They're not really trying to reinvent the character. They're just making the audience more marketable to a wider audience, which is fine. I think it's great. But since we want to be true to the Marvel Universe, our Nick Fury is actually based on the Marvel Universe's Nick Fury, and he's white. Okay, now, first, well, here's another one. Remember The Punisher? The remake of the Punisher movie? They didn't really have the Kingpin, but the one before that, they had the Kingpin. He was white, but we know that the Kingpin is actually black because we've seen the Daredevil movie. So all of these characters can be moved around. Look, the skin color doesn't matter, okay? Let's just get that straight. The skin color does not matter. What matters is that we follow the continuity of the Marvel Universe, which is the reason why Firestar lives in every one of these movies, and that's the connecting thread. She's in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. She's in X-Man and His X-Men. And also, she's in Iron Man. Okay? And so that's all we're going to say on that. I've got to talk a little bit here real quick about Time Agent. Apparently, I made a mistake the other day when I was talking about Time Agent. And I'll admit when I make mistakes. I don't always have to admit anything, but I'm going to. Time Agent, starring Robin Turner. Well, I made a mistake, okay? The people who actually make Time Agent, and this is their website, the people that actually make Time Agent, apparently it's a TV series about people that travel through time, engaging in all kinds of fantastical adventures and so on and so forth, and saving the universe and so on and so forth. They have a website, and it's called Time Agent .tk. Time Agent TK, and that's the internet website of Time Agent. Okay, so now Time Agent, I made a mistake the other day when I said that Time Agent was starring Robin Turner. Time Agent does not star Robin Turner.